Even a strong gust of wind could knock him to the ground. Because of his condition, his teammates ordered him to stay behind no matter how dangerous the mission became. But the moment their vehicle drove away, an urgent call came through. "Jack, this is none of hearts. We need an immediate forecast." Headquarters instantly received his distress signal and began generating a full 3D scan of the surrounding mountain terrain. After analyzing real-time data, a clear green route appeared in his vision. Just 50 meters to his right, a parachute had been deployed, his fastest way down the mountain, on it. The parachute snapped open as the girl stabilized her body. She was now racing downhill at nearly 70 kilometers per hour. Trees lined the entire route, making it impossible for the parachute to lift her into the air. Suddenly, a cliff hundreds of meters deep appeared ahead. She fought to control the parachute and launched herself at the last second, barely clearing the edge as she was dragged rapidly toward the foot of the mountain. At the same time, the assassin convoy arrived at the cable car station below. The girl pushed herself harder, flying low along the planned route. Then, without warning, thick fog rolled in and a steel cable appeared directly in her path. She was trapped. With no other choice, she cut the lines and slid down the cable, but that detour threw her off course. She wouldn't make it in time. Below her, someone was riding a snowmobile. That was her only chance. Without hesitation, she jumped. A kind stranger rushed over to check if she was hurt. She smiled calmly, said nothing, and climbed onto his snowmobile. Time was running out. At the cable car station, assassins had already set up sniper positions. Inside the cable car were two high-value targets, her boss, and an MI6 agent. The sniper was confident. He squeezed the trigger, Mississippi, he chambered another round, adjusted his aim, and locked onto the target. Just as he fired, the girl, ignoring the pain tearing through her body, threw herself behind a vehicle. The amusement park staff quickly cut the lights, giving her the cover she needed. She struck instantly. The first enemy went down, but her position was exposed. She moved fast, firing again and again. With guidance from her handler, she eliminated every remaining assassin. The cable car arrived moments later. She had only 1 minute. The bodies had to disappear. Her identity could not be exposed. When the MI6 agent stepped out of the cable car, the two drivers arrived shortly after. They were confused. Why hadn't anyone boarded earlier? There was no time to question it. The priority now was to extract the target. Then everything went wrong. The target began foaming at the mouth. He had taken poison at some point, without anyone noticing. The girl froze in shock. That meant everything they had done was meaningless. The mission had failed. All 4 agents were reprimanded. Not only had the target died under mysterious circumstances, but MI6 system had also been hacked. Whoever was behind this had terrifying power. They had to find out who. That hidden force was known as the Charter Bureau, an organization so secretive that most people only knew it existed, and nothing more. The girl, Stone, was a member of its elite Red Star team. Undercover, she worked inside MI6 as a civilian analyst. The Bureau's power came from something called the Heart of Spies, a super AI chip capable of monitoring any location in real time, analyzing behavioral patterns, and predicting future events. Once a threat was forecast, agents were dispatched to eliminate it before it could happen. During the Alps mission, a hacker named Kaya had appeared. He seemed to know Stone's true identity. Kaya was an Indian prodigy. At just 22 years old, he had already breached the intelligence firewalls of multiple nations. According to the Heart of Spies calculations, Kaya was likely targeting the Bureau itself. Stone was ordered to bring him in. MI6 would be fed Kaya's location, allowing Stone to join the mission without raising suspicion. Soon, her 4-person team arrived in Lisbon. Their objective: capture Kaya. Her teammates thought it would be a routine operation. They were wrong. The night before the mission, they relaxed in their rented room. Music played. Spirits were high. Then Stone received a warning: 6 enemies were approaching the building. With more waiting outside, 5 seconds later, the door was breached, gunfire erupted.
Stone couldn't reveal herself yet.
Parker was knocked unconscious.
Two teammates struggled desperately against overwhelming odds. Jack transmitted an escape route.
Stone jumped out the window, but if she ran, the others would die. She broke protocol and went back. The moment Stone joined the fight, everything changed.
The enemies were wiped out in seconds.
The crisis was over, but her identity was exposed. With no time to explain, the team fled.
They stole a vehicle and raced through Lisbon's narrow streets, a brutal high-speed chase unfolding behind them.
Stone's driving skills were flawless. One by one, the pursuers fell back. They escaped. In an empty area, the team demanded answers.
Why had Stone hidden her abilities?
Who was she really? She finally confessed she was an agent of the Charter Bureau, but then Parker revealed his own secret. He had infiltrated MI6 to find the Bureau, and more importantly, the heart of spies. He let Stone get close on purpose. During a brief fight, he slashed her arm with a blade laced with paralytic poison. Stone collapsed. Parker explained everything. The Alps mission had been a trap. The target had known too much, and Parker poisoned him to erase the risk. Every event since had been part of his plan. He injected a tracking device into Stone's arm and walked away, knowing the Bureau would retrieve her. Back at headquarters, alarms blared. A massive Trojan virus flooded the system. The firewall collapsed. The signal was coming from inside. Stone woke up just in time. She cut open her arm, ripped out the device, and destroyed it. The system stabilized. The heart of spies was safe, or so they thought. In just over a minute of downtime, Kaya had already located the AI. He forced its aircraft to descend. Now, Parker and Kaya were heading straight for it.
Stone traced Kaya's signal and realized the truth.
They were about to board the ship. With no hesitation, she enlisted help, boarded a transport plane, and took to the sky. Parker and Kaya arrived first. They opened the hatch. Inside was the heart of spies, technology capable of reshaping the world. Ground command was alerted, but the nearest agent was still 800 kilometers away, and Stone was the only one who could stop them.
Norma suddenly realized that this mission might already be lost. Everything was spiraling out of control.
But what he could never have imagined was that Stone, the agent he had personally expelled from the Charter Bureau, would come back without hesitation, risking everything to stop what was coming. Tell me about it.
Go, throw it now.
That's it. Stone activated his wingsuit and shot toward the massive airship like a missile. The speed of the high-altitude glide was terrifying. He blasted straight through the underside of the airship, flipped his body midair, pulled an aggressive Cobra maneuver, and landed hard on top of the hull. At the last second, he grabbed onto the structure to stop himself from sliding off. He glanced back at the hatch, released his grip, rolled violently across the surface, then caught a handle just in time. After a near-fatal struggle, he finally forced the hatch open and dropped into the airship. Stone's objective was clear: stop Kaya from stealing the heart of spies. But Parker suddenly appeared behind him. The two clashed in the narrow corridor, fists and weapons colliding in a brutal close-quarters fight. While they were locked in combat, Kaya reached the control terminal and removed the core module of the heart of spies. Headquarters instantly lost control. Kaya reassigned himself as the sole administrator. Now, only he had the authority to access the system. Stone's fight with Parker continued. One mistake sent Stone tumbling off a high platform. His parachute pack snagged on a corner and tore loose. At 10,000 meters above the ground, without a parachute, escape was impossible. Worse still, Parker had planted explosives inside the airship. Stone dragged himself back up. As he emerged onto the exterior, the helicopter above him was already lifting off. A massive explosion erupted behind him. There was nowhere left to run. With no other choice, Stone gambled everything. He grabbed a cable and climbed toward Kaya's position. Kaya raised his gun, ready to fire. Stone cut the cable instead. Both of them plunged into open air, free-falling from 10,000 meters. Kaya was unconscious but still had a parachute. Stone stabilized his body in the dive, caught Kaya at the last possible moment and deployed the parachute just before impact. Stone woke up first. He restrained Kaya and began leading him through the endless desert. Along the way, Stone finally learned the truth. Kaya's obsession with the heart of spies came from a desire to take revenge on his abusive adoptive father. Such a childish reason. Even now, Kaya didn't realize he had been used by Parker. He truly believed Parker was helping him get justice. Hours later, a pickup truck appeared. The driver was unusually friendly, almost too convenient.
Stone's instincts kicked in. He secretly planted a tracking device on Kaya. As expected, the driver took them to the nearest tribal settlement.
The moment they stopped, armed men poured out from every direction. The driver panicked, slammed the gas, and crashed into a nearby hut. Stone bailed out and fled.
Gunmen chased him down.
With no escape left, he leapt from a 100-meter cliff into the ocean below, barely surviving. Much later, exhausted and barely conscious, Stone crawled onto the shore. Soon after, his pilot teammate found him and pulled him onto a plane. Stone immediately contacted Norma and transmitted Kaya's location. The heart of spies was now in Parker's hands.
Headquarters was no longer safe. Norma ordered a full evacuation, relocating all personnel and equipment to a hidden site.
Stone rushed toward the coordinates, knowing support would arrive once Norma was secure. Meanwhile, Kaya followed Parker to his secret base. The core was installed into a pre-built system. As it powered up, Parker gained the ability to locate and control any connected device on the planet. Kaya still believed Parker was helping him until Parker identified one of the Charter Bureau's leaders, Nancy Morrison. Without hesitation, Parker ordered the elevator she was in to drop. That was the moment Kaya saw the truth. Parker didn't want revenge, he wanted to wipe out the entire Charter Bureau. Parker then detected another bureau leader heading toward Kaya's last known location. At the same time, he located Norma's safe house. Parker remotely shut down all systems, sealing the reinforced doors and cutting off ventilation. The oxygen inside would last only 1 hour. Kaya tried to stop him. This was too cruel. He only wanted exposure, not mass murder, but Parker was beyond reason. 2 targets were already eliminated. Only one team remained, heading straight into a trap. They didn't know Kaya's tracker had already been discovered. The location they were following had been planted by Parker himself. Stone arrived just in time. Kaya finally understood how insane Parker was. Desperate to make things right, he secretly inserted a USB drive into the system and called Stone,
warning him to get the team out immediately.
The building was a death trap. Stone sprinted into the command vehicle, seized control of communications, and contacted the team leader, but it was almost too late. "I hear you." Parker saw everything through surveillance. But before he could celebrate, the system crashed. Kaya had planted a virus. Enraged, Parker went hunting for him. At the same time, Stone received a call from Norma. He learned about his former colleagues trapped inside the sealed chamber. Despite his injuries, Stone forced himself onto a motorcycle and raced toward Kaya's signal. A hostile rider pursued him.
Gunfire rang out.
Escape wasn't easy, spotting a truck ahead.
Stone made his move.
He climbed aboard mid-motion and, with the driver's help, reached Parker's base. Parker caught up to Kaya at the same time Stone infiltrated the facility. Stone silently eliminated 2 guards and entered the core zone. Under threat, Kaya noticed Stone hiding nearby. Pretending he needed to activate the system, he lured Parker straight to Stone. Parker never suspected a thing. Stone stepped out, but lowered his weapon when Kaya was taken hostage. Parker didn't realize that the two had already exchanged a silent signal. This time, Parker was finished. After a brutal final showdown, Stone and Kaya worked together and finally took Parker down. Without wasting a second, Stone reactivated the sealed chamber systems. As fresh air flooded in, everyone trapped inside was saved. The crisis was over. From that day on, Kaya and Stone stood together, guarding the future of the world. The movie ends here. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.